Audio Jungle.
Well, hello HSM parents. We are back here again this month with Chris Anderson, who is the owner and clinical director of Building Bridges Christian Counseling, and we're just so thankful to have you here with us. And each month we're talking about a different topic in our crisis nights with our students, and so we thought it'd be fun to have an expert like Chris here to kind of share with us as parents about this topic and how we can discuss it with our students. So this month we are talking about anxiety. So this is an issue that a number of our students struggle with, and so I would love it, Chris, if you could just first kind of define in layman's terms for us what is anxiety, and then secondly, what are some warning signs and things to look for?
Anxiety is that internal drive, that feeling that I need to do something, that feeling of being unsettled. And sometimes it's totally appropriate, like when you're studying for a test the next day. You want a certain amount of anxiety in order to drive you to study hard. But if the anxiety has gotten so great that you can't focus and you can't concentrate and you can't study and you end up blowing the test the next day, then that's something where it gets out of hand, and it can get to the place where teens can really struggle in life, struggle with experiences, miss out on important things. Because the anxiety can be, it can sneak out in a lot of different ways. It can be like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder kind of anxiety, where everything needs to be in a certain order and everything has to be checked twice. It could be social anxiety, where they're very fearful of social situations. It can be a specific phobia about a particular thing that really scares them. And it can be generalized anxiety, where they're just consumed with worry. And they're always ruminating, they're always thinking over and over again about the worst thing that could possibly happen. And they kind of talk themselves into believing that the worst thing is going to happen, and they live in constant fear.
Wow, okay. That's really, really helpful. If there's some parents who are going, I think my student is anxious, I think they may be dealing with anxiety, what kind of tips would you give them for approaching that conversation with them?
Well, one would be to, as you're noticing your teen and you're noticing how they live their lives and the struggles that they have in life, with anxiety you can, well, we tend to see more cutting, we tend to see people who do self-harming behavior, more drug use, more premarital sex, more of the things that really don't want our kids to participate in. And often I'll go through family histories and I'll do this genogram, basically a family tree, and we'll look at various disorders as well as substance abuse, and we find like 8 siblings in there.
Wow.
And 4 of them are anxious and the other 4 are alcoholics.
Wow.
Which means that they're also anxious. They just happen to be self-medicating with the alcohol. And so you see what people do for coping skills, and you wonder, you want to encourage good coping skills. And because it does tend to run in families, often we have these really anxious parents with these really anxious kids. And the parents need to be able to manage their own anxiety so that they're not flooding the kids' world and making them more anxious. And so it's a trick. First we need to work on ourselves, and then we need to encourage them to have a healthy lifestyle, to have good boundaries around their life, to exercise, to eat well, to be social, and to not pressure them, but to encourage them. And so it's hard to be pushing yet gentle, and just kind of look at what does a healthy lifestyle look like.
That's helpful, Chris. And then could you share, maybe if there are a few things that we should avoid in having that conversation, or maybe even within the family structure, the things that maybe we don't want to contribute to?
Well, we want to avoid shaming them. We want to avoid being very negative towards them or dismissing their feelings. We want to avoid taking them and making things worse by making life more difficult on them, and really encouraging them to open up and for you to be the safe person they can talk to. When anxiety becomes very severe, there are times when we need to go take them for medical evaluation. It's times when sometimes they need medication to help lower the level of anxiety. Sometimes counseling in order to help them to manage their life better and their thoughts better.
Yeah, wow. That's really, really helpful, Chris. Obviously, we are just scratching the surface of this issue.